original.
Hey Kiara. Oh, caught in advertising purgatory. Hey Pink Fawn. Oh, thanks for giving Pink Fawn a shout at Kiara, although I don't think she streams. Speaking of, do you want one yourself? And yep, I'm good. I mean, as my Twitter said, I had my hair done this morning, so I've, instead of cosplaying as a tiefling, I've just sort of done a casual look. I mean, I keep saying casual look, which, as I said on Twitter, kind of implies that my tiefling cosplay is a uniform. And I'm actually okay with that. And follow Kiara Strings. She does a talk stream every weekday and Saturday morning. Well, it's early for her in Canada. Your mileage may vary. It's a little before midday here. She's just generally a lovely person to hang out with in the morning for an hour and a half while you eat breakfast. Pink Fawn, you don't stream at the moment, but you're experimenting with a VTube avatar. Oh, that's cool. What sort of style are you going for? Oh yeah, when I started the stream, I did accidentally click on YouTube Shorts, and I think there was a blast of a video. So Sorry if anyone got jump scared by that. It wasn't anything scary, it was just you know, the typical loud start to a Jorts. Hey DJ, do you want a shout out? Never mind, Kiara's giving you one. Oh, anywho, I do believe I should actually switch camera on. How's it going? So yeah, got my hair done this morning. My hairdresser basically asked if I'd like to curl it, so I said yeah, because, you know, might as well enjoy it while it lasts. I might actually start dyeing it purple soon. So yeah, enjoy me blonde again for while it lasts. Yep, I'm absolutely loving this look. Become a bit obsessed with purple contacts. Just for that bit of tiefling represent. Oh yeah, speaking of, I've done the very hard thing and started doing building damage into these horns. So I basically cut away a section, glued another piece of foam in, and I've started carving that foam up just to look like the sort of insides of a horn. Because usually it's like a kind of like the inside of a bell pepper, or as we call them here, just pepper. So I'm going for a sort of I'm not really sure what to call it, like a struct sort of thing. Yep, I'm also doing a bit of a paint check on this. This is basically just a horn from the first time I made horns left over, and I'm just using it to test out painting techniques. So I'm basically layering it, and I'm just gonna I'm basically gonna, when I'm done with that, I'm gonna sort of sand it down, and I've basically been, well, I'll start the game up and stop rambling. Well, I'll keep rambling, but I'll start the game up. So I'll just need to hook the game back up to the okay, do this in real time. Gotcha. I'll have disappeared for a moment. I'll be back, don't worry. There we go. Told you. Right, back to our regularly scheduled game. How's it going anyway, DJ? Sorry, I started trailing off a bit there. Oh yeah, sorry about the whole suddenly switching sound back on again. Pink Fawn, also taking advantage of 2 days off work to get stuff done. Managed to work on every project except the ones you actually need for next weekend. Yeah, I know that feeling. Like... Okay, this is nice. Not having a ponytail back there, so when I sort of touch the back of my head, it's not suddenly running into a bump. Yeah, I've had like 2 weeks off, but all I've really managed to work on is my horns. I was kind of hoping to be working on the silicon ears by now. But yeah, basically the advice I was given was to sort of basically layer the basically do the paint job for the damaged parts, and then apply the varnish. Then do the paint job for the undamaged parts and apply the varnish, and then sort of sand it down to get the to reveal on the damaged parts to reveal the layer. So I'm gonna test if how well that works using that old horn. Oh yeah, something I completely forgot to do that I wanted to do was basically look up the item I found at the end of the last stream. I found a note and a date, oldest to newest. Yep, so I found Gear's Rule, which is a very good artificer alchemist item. And there was a whole thing here about very like a party who was who challenged the league and got defeated. So I'm wondering if that's a reference to something or like a Kickstarter backers party or what. Ping Fawn, I got cut out by an 8-ad break. Wow, no wonder my viewers suddenly just dropped off. Ah, sorry about that. It's set to free adverts and 3 minutes of adverts per hour. So guess I'll try and revise the settings again, hope for the best. I mean, you could always subscribe, but I don't necessarily encourage that. Yeah, I'll have to remember to give that particular item to the alchemist. Loot around here at least. Got gold. Got diamond dust. Okay, we've got enemies.
Now you see me. Now you don't. Stand down.
You know what I love about sneak... Seriously? You know what I love about sneak attacks? You don't have to use them as a resource. No less you're trying to compose a post made from lyrics of... That song goes to... All of the queens that are fighting alone. And then you got jump scared by ads. It's taking you ages to complete the rhyme anyway. Yeah. Oh, what's the name of that song? No less to the kings and queen that are playing our game. Thank you for... Yeah, that doesn't really fit the meter. Kiara, longest 9 ads. Oh, bloody heck. Seriously, 9 adverts? Like, were they short adverts or was it more than 3 minutes? Because I'm very irritated if that's the case. Okay, Rigongar. Charge. Okay, or don't. Okay, you're stealthed. That explains it. Okay, let's see if we can just finish off this alchemist.
Consider me provoked.
Oh, well, Conjurer has lower health, so it's the best to use. Kiara, 2.5 minutes. Pink Fawn, you had 8 adverts at about 30 seconds each. Bloody heck. 4 minutes. Well, I'll just fiddle with the options again. Next time. Attack of opportunity.
You offend me.
That's how we beat the game. It's just, damn. This guy's got a ton of potions. Most of them are just, Alchemist Fire and Acid, though. Egg. Egg. I don't know why some of these chests are...
Let's make this quick.
Yep, egg. Nolus, you think, thank you for the support. Kind of fits the first part, even without butchering any syllables. You just couldn't think of a way to complete the actual line. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, yeah, I think I get what you're going for now. I mean, it doesn't help that I have the musical skills of a rock. Pink Fawn, the same audible advert twice back to back. Oh god, is it that one that keeps trying to sort of set out as some sort of amazing mythical storyteller? I hate that one.
Your time is over.
Nihilus. Dead Alchemist, I need your strongest potions. Doesn't answer, cause dead. Yes, Pink Fawn? Egg.
I'll cut you.
Orshimo Ragongar.
This is for you.
Tavia should get a sneak attack. Lovely.
You deserved it.
Okay, this one's kind of tough. And he just gets splattered by attacks of opportunity. Like a good archer.
Hey, have a look.
Ooh, chain lightning. Chocolate ice cream recipe. Yeah. One of the low-key brilliant mechanics in this is basically you can find recipes and then basically copy them, and it uses exactly the same mechanic as the copying a spell into your spell book. Yeah, that reminds me, can I copy this? No. Yes, I can. Take chain lightning. I'll take stone to flesh. Yeah, inflict light wounds is a No less something something full metal alchemist. Ooh, a sword. Just a schemata +2. Love that word though. Schemata. It's one of those words that is actually pronounced how you would expect it shouldn't be pronounced. But would if you weren't.
Dangers don't frighten me. Their sight betrays them.
And this is just north of where we were before. Interesting. Or if you could ambush from the top instead, and that would make a difference. Well, in any case, let's get out of this hideout. So yeah, for those who missed the last stream, long story short, can I make the chocolate ice cream yet? Okay, I need butter. I've got basically everything else I need. Oh wow, +3 to all the skill checks for the rest of the day. I need to get some butter. Oh yeah, so fun fact, Lindsay cannot fail this check because she has a +25 or something.
If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have survived there. I'd have died under the lash, or jumped on a guard's spear.
I wouldn't have survived without you either. Your rage gave me hope, even on the edge of despair.
No less, to be honest, the bit people talk about where someone hid an important spell in the cookbook is one of the bits you do not remember. Oh yeah, that's sort of like the end of the first major arc. Well, sort of like the end of the second act, I guess. Like, Ed discovers the an alchemist who had discovered the secret of the secret of creating a philosopher's stone. And he basically reads the notes, realizes it's in a recipe. It's basically disguised as a recipe. So he translates the notes and realizes that the secret ingredient is people. Yeah, it's not in the beginning of the show. It's basically sort of like, yeah, well, like I said, it's sort of like the end of the second act. I think. I can't quite remember. Oh yeah, we've got more quests to do. Okay, so the old sycamore. Yeah, let's head to the old sycamore. Gonna be quite slow travel until we get past the mountains. I also remembered I need to buy butter. Exactly, Pinkthorn. Silent Green is people!
I need to catch my breath.
Oh yeah, I was going to recap. Basically, this lady, Octavia, and this gentleman, Rigongar, were kept as slaves by sort of like some side villains. Well, the Technic League are sort of one of the villainous factions.
Not much sleep again.
I know. You were screaming in your sleep. If I could drag your nightmares outside and punch them in the face.
And they have kind of a problematic dynamic where, well, Rigongar is chaotic evil and Octavia's chaotic good, but they're basically chaotic neutral between the two, and what happens is Rigongar basically does all the unpleasant stuff, and Octavia is sort of freed up to be nice about everything, but they're sort of enabling one another. And we just did a side quest where we were chasing down their, the villains. Oh, hey. I spoke too soon. Looks like the last quest actually made Rigongar chaotic neutral, which sort of makes sense since they chose to free some people instead of chasing the bad guys. So I wonder if that would have negatively affected Octavia's alignment, or... some church. Well, anyway, we're going to do Lindsay's companion quest next. So this is basically trying to help out her old mentor, because her thing was basically she was found in a backwater by a travelling bard and sort of adopted, dropped off at an academy in a sort of a in sort of an autocratic regime led by a fairly egomaniac king. And basically her mentor's gotten into hot water with him for whatever reason. So now we're going to rescue her. And it'll probably turn out she was a bad mentor, or like a really good mentor, or... well, she's either a really good mentor and she's going to die, or she's either a really bad mentor, or she was kind of a bad mentor and she's going to betray us. Or maybe both, I don't know. Pinkthorn, why do you suddenly get ideas for a shy tiefling wizard girl on the brain? Nolus, and yeah, Rigongar is kind of weirdly possessive about how he talks about Octavia, even though they're in a open relationship. Yeah, I mean, they don't call it a poly relationship, but they are basically poly. Where am I going? I have no idea where I'm going. Wasn't that a mood? Where did the quest say? Do justice. Price of Curiosity, that's another one. Turncoats, that was it. With Lindsay and party, find Aelbold near the old sycamore. Okay, so the old sycamore is somewhere north, I think. Yeah, to the north. So I guess we're headed up there. Kind of Martin Kobold corpses, because the first time we got here there was basically a civil war going on. Very grim it was. Nolus, the stream keeps stopping to buffer on your end. Let me just check. I'm not getting any drop frames, and yeah, it's saying kilobytes per second are okay. Don't know if anyone else is having any trouble. To be fair, my internet was being a bit weird this morning. Okay, fine on your end, Emphis. Also, hi, Emphis, how's it going? Lurking while you do food, fair enough. Happy fooding. Okay, to the old sycamore. A group of young boys and girls play their lutes as a horde of centipedes surround them, swearing their horns and hissing to the tune. A fat mite stands nearby, listening to the strange concert with a blissful smile. Music! Fine! Play! Play! Have mercy on them. Look at their fingers. They're bleeding. An old grey-haired man begs the mite from among the musicians. Who can't play can be food. Wait. Who can't play can be food, sweet pedicants. No one be food. Keep play. Professor Aobold, I presume? Your Highness, Lindsay? Pray, Shellen, I beg you, save us from this music connoisseur. No, Lusset, stop doing that now, but you have no idea how far behind you are. If it helps, it is 35 minutes past 6 local time. I assume the minutes would be the same. Octavia giggles and covers her mouth. Oh, just gone 36. Octavia giggles and covers her mouth with her hand. Oh, that's embarrassing. Of course we have to help these poor fellows. But this concert... Hey, mate, who are you? Aye, Ash! Free shepherd. Walk around, shepherd herd. Best pedicants on all woods. Ask anyone. You know Queen Badar? Don't know no queen? Ash not bow to kings. Walk where want. Is so. Whose bodies are these? Why no. Some bandits. First chase musicians with knives, then go at pedicants. Sure, we not refuse free food. Right, sweeties? Right? I love doing that voice. What are you doing to these musicians? Listen to music. Good music. I good? And pedicants good before meal. Aren't you aware that centipedes get indigestion from music? Diarrhea from bards too. Or I can do an intimidate for 28. Get out of here before I cut your centipedes to pieces. Okay, so the bluff is... Okay, I've got plus 20 to bluff. Plus 20 to intimidate. Okay, we're going to try bluff. Failed. Nah, lie. Music good. Bard's tasty. You lie. Wow. To be fair, I needed to roll a 20 there. Okay, we'll try rolling an intimidate. Success! And by the narrowest of margin... Wait, no. Oh. Kind of sucks. I would have succeeded if I'd got that roll on the last check. Oh well. Guess we had to resort to violence. Ah, it started raining outside. Hey, hey! Why cut? Why so angry? Enough. Go, sweeties. Go, honeys. Nobody here like us. See ya. Well, Look who's here, Lindsay. And is this Her Highness? Praise all the good gods. You made it just in time. A bit longer, and we'd have been done for. Oh yeah, in case you missed it last stream, I've been crowned queen now, so I don't know exactly how that works, because I'm supposed to be ruler of my own nation. So there's no reason I couldn't just say, you know what, I'm queen now, not just a baroness, but hey-ho. Guess maybe you have to ask other nation states to vouch for you. I must say, your book's been very successful.
and starting your own publishing house with the printing of a book banned by Iravotti's personal order.
Okay, these were all choices we made earlier.
Well, that was a bold move. I'm so proud of you.
I'm so glad to see you. I can't believe that talent's hack Ivarotti kicked you out of the academy. I wish everyone could see what a philanthropist and patron of the arts he really is. His tricks could make up a whole book.
You know, Lindsay, that's not a bad idea. I know many details of just how much harm the king brought upon his own academy. If you find yourself with time between adventures, I'd be happy to sit down and write such a book with you. All the more so now that you have your own printing press house to print it.
Seriously? You want to work on a book with me? Of course I'll find the time. Let's set off for the capital as soon as possible. I can't wait to get started.
Hail, Queen. Now we all...
Alondi stops when he sees Lindsay's piercing gaze.
Is something wrong?
You don't even remember, do you? Of course you don't, but I'll never forget. You and your friends poisoned the years I spent at the academy, hiding my things, tearing my books, spilling ink on me, dunking me in the fountain. And now you have the nerve to come here. Maybe you want a job at the publishing house too? No less something about talking to the person who gave you the barony to begin with, you suspect. Well, yeah, that's fair. And thanks for the quote, Enfys. And you're right, Kiara, it's always raining in May. I mean, here it's always rainy, full stop. It's really just a matter of if it's warm rain or not. Okay, Professor Airbold, is this true? Are you a bad professor?
Of course, I would never dare accuse our dear Lindsay of lying, but I know nothing of these accusations. Alondi has always put his best foot forward with me. He is a wonderful poet and musician, and he's always been polite. If not for him risking his life to get us to the capital, we'd all be dead. Alondi, did you really treat up here this way? For shame. I thought better of you.
What do you have to say for yourself, Alondi?
What is there to say? We were students. Sometimes we made jokes, pulled pranks. Sometimes they were rude and stupid. I'm sorry, Lindsay. I'm ashamed of my behaviour. I never should have done those things to you.
You can shove your apologies all the way. You hear tears in Lindsay's voice. Does this mean I get to sentence school bullies to the dungeon?
Please, Lindsay, we're at your mercy. Will you truly stoop to revenge? Is this what you took from my lessons?
What do you want to do with him, Lindsay? I don't know. I'm sorry, teacher, but I can't bear to look at him. Let him go wherever he wants. Restov, move on, or Absalom for all I care. I'd even give him money for travel, just so I don't have to see his face.
Lindsay.
Airbold claps his hand before him.
I understand you're hurt, and I'm at fault too. If the other teachers and I had paid as much attention to the students' behaviour as we did to their grades...
Airbold closes his eyes and takes a deep breath.
I cannot change the past, but please find it in your heart to forgive Alondi. He's an exceptional poet. Allow him to atone for his behaviour. Bring a little kindness and light to your kingdom.
Hey, I bring plenty of kindness and light to my kingdom. Teacher, I don't know. Lindsay looks back at you. What should I do? Maybe I should forgive him. Let him write those brilliant verses of his. Scumbag. Okay, Rigongor has opinions.
Listen, Pipsqueak. Advice is usually cheap, but this one's paid for all of the hide off my back. Don't forgive him. People don't change. He will shoot, and he'll stay shoot, whether you give him one chance or 100.
That is a good point. Yeah, you're right, Nurse. She doesn't have to give anything. That she isn't into it. And yeah, you're right. the fact she's not just going to screw him over for his behaviours, proof that she's fairly mature. Okay, what's the chaotic neutral option? You don't have to forgive him. It doesn't matter how wonderful his poetry is. I don't need people like him in my kingdom. Oh my god. And of course there's the chaotic evil option of just straight up killing him. Neutral good, aka the boring nice person. Forgive him, give him the chance to atone for his deeds. Neutral, I'll leave it to you. Yep, ever the centralist. Chaotic neutral. Lindsay points towards the woods. Get lost. I don't care about your poetry. I can't forget how you tore up mine. I mean, is it fair for him to still have his deeds as a kid haunt him? Yes, absolutely. No less neutral good, i.e. the toxic positivity one. True. No less people don't change, says the allegedly chaotic character. I mean, chaotic doesn't mean you aren't consistent in your behaviour. It just means you don't follow rules. I suppose lawful versus... Well, like a lawful or person isn't necessarily a stickler for rules. And a chaotic person isn't necessarily completely and utterly impulsive. I mean, I have I think I've got a clip saved about this, where quite a lot of people on the spectrum, we really like clear instructions, but we don't get along. We don't like being told what to do, specifically because the kind of person who likes people to just do what they tell them to finds it tend to get upset if they're asked for clarification and such. So yeah, which is sort of how I am. So that gives us sort of chaotic personality that this game would probably classify as chaotic, even though it does come from a place of basically wishing things were very rule-abiding. Exactly, Enfys. Alignment's not a clear indicator of opinions. Chaotic good person will just do good with no regard for sort of so Robin Hood's chaotic good, but you could easily have a chaotic good lawyer who uses the rules but doesn't necessarily respect them. And like you have lawful evil devils who make contracts, but you also have the chaotic neutral fae who make contracts, and the difference is how they sort of feel about those contracts. Londi lowers his head. As you say, but I truly am sorry.
Well, Your Highness, Lindsay, you're well within your rights.
Let's get back to the capital. I can't wait to start working on the book, teacher. Well, I just exiled your student. I can't wait to collaborate. No less, rules tend to be controlled by people who care about nothing but controlling people. Exactly. And like, you could have a lawful character who doesn't necessarily obey the rules, because consider Batman. Well, actually no, don't consider any sort of DC or Marvel superhero, because you know they're all vigilantes, so they're all breaking the law in the end, but some of them are downright obsessed with the idea of laws. Kiara, Superman is very much a lawful good superhero, but he still operates as a vigilante. Like, he is the poster boy for a properly written lawful good character. If only because he's basically so powerful he doesn't actually need to worry about consequences for obeying the law himself.
Okay, what other side quests do we have? Need to get to that dwarven fortress. Okay, so we're going to travel back to Tuskdale, trade up the party. No less consider Batman in the odd chart meme that puts him in all 9 alignment slots. Oh yeah, to be fair, he is one of those characters who has a lot of interpretations, shall we say. To be fair, there is definitely well, that you could straight up get, well, I literally already said it. Well, any comic book character who has been around for long enough probably has multiple interpretations. Okay, let's change out our party. We need our dwarf, and we need our alchemist. Kind of want to bring Knock Knock back into the party, but whatevs. Yeah, you're right. Comic book characters probably aren't the best use case for discussing this, just because of how many interpretations they've had. Literally the second I leave my kingdom. Okay, that failed. That failed. You know what, let's do some annexing. Okay, I can't because everyone's busy. Back in the capital to do that. Okay, we're just going then. Max staying neutral good would not be toxic positivity, because toxic positivity is anti-ethical to good. That's true. But it does tend to get interpreted that way, if that makes sense.
I decree we set up camp.
Oh yeah, I forgot to get butter. Oh well.
I'm so happy I dropped by Lady Jamandi's that evening. We had some fun, burnt a few assassins, and made a valuable acquaintance.
What are you so happy about? It's true, we might not have met otherwise, but a lot of people died that night.
Yeah, that was the basically she was describing the opening chapter. It's kind of interesting because basically Kasai is a DLC character, so she's sort of slotted into the story. But she's basically two characters in one, because she's like two sisters who have to keep trading places because of a curse. I attempted to just explore this place for the heck of it. I'm going to explore it. And yeah, no, to be fair, a lot of the good options the games give her a bit bleh. Because they're trying to do that edgy, lawful good paladins kind of racist thing. And yes, yikes, maxing. Maxing, you guess it's time to make Pathfinder Kingslaughter. I mean, to be fair, that Everossi guy sounds like a jerk, so... Hey, Newcomb.
Can you make an epic pose? I need inspiration.
Away, you rascal!
Jack, no, Amari. This game needs an undo button.
Any last wishes?
Blonk. Oh, just too far away. Oh well.
Clever ploy.
Stand down.
Ah, sneak attack damage.
Oh, you
My true love. Hey, Tau Kitty. You'd like a game set in Numeria? Oh yeah. Max Sting, King's Laughter, and King's Slaughter. You feel like there's potential there? And yep, Numeria is the land where, well, it played quite heavily in the last sort of quest, because it's where the barbarians come from. It's basically a UFO crash site. But there's a lot of weird technology and robots floating about. You know, because fantasy.
Tear them apart!
Oh yeah, note to self. Amiri needs to
Done with waiting.
switch to one of her other weapons because we're not fighting undead anymore. So 6 to 16. 3 to 19. Yeah, I'll stick with Troll Reaper just because it's got the higher potential damage. I imagine Miri's going to have a quest where we can fix her sword, but... That was then? Oh, come on, more.
Their sight betrays them.
The world is full of wonder.
Enjoy your final moments.
And thank you for the quote, Nerlis. We're up to 703. Max Sting, UFO crashes and fantasy go back probably a century or so at least. Ah, yeah, that's true. I mean, as I like to say, any sufficiently high fantasy is indistinguishable from any sufficiently soft science fiction.
This
That was easy.
My search was not in vain.
A trap. Serious
No
trap.
time for idling. There's something over there. No challenge at all.
Fragment of a necklace. Be close to last of those. Ancient weather-worn ruins. Time has been merciless to them. It's virtually impossible to tell when they were erected or who were the builders. Ooh, a spear. Long spear +1, okay. Boat. Max Sting, you do prefer your fantasy to be more fantastic. Don't get you wrong, your first love is science fiction. That's the problem. Rockets and lasers is a cooler aesthetic. You feel like if you're going to have them in a fantasy, it should make sense. No less, you don't begrudge hidden post-apocalyptic things like the Shannara series. Yeah, the She-Ra reboot did it pretty well. End fierce, things fell from the sky and then shenanigans ensue is basically ageless. Yeah, that's true. Max Sting, you're thinking about Vampire Hunter D earlier. Judging by the empty coffers, someone was using this boat to transport quite a bit of goods. But where did all the stuff go? Good question. A very good question indeed. Ooh, free darts. Rice and nut pudding. Do love a good rice pudding. I never thought of putting hazelnuts in one though.
An ambush, eh?
Basically explores the entire area. Guess that's that. Oh wait, there's more.
Adventures are
I'll turn you to ash.
Oh, never mind, it spotted a Miri. Oh, hey Nick. Good briefing. Gonna lurk while you do some video editing, but you want to say my hair looks awesome? Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just had it done this morning and... obviously, yeah, well, as I was planning, it seemed a shame to shove my head into a wig right after it had been done, so I'm just doing I'm just streaming casual. And thank you, Max Sting. Tau Kitty Numeri also has androids with nanomachine repair bots in their blood, and they're powered by souls for average human lifespans. Then new soul transfers in and reverses the aging. Oh, and thank you for the sub, Nick. 22 months. That's 2 times 11, which is almost 2 years. Max Sting, you feel like these opponents may be a bit outclassed? Yeah. Exactly, Max Sting, and that's terrible. You know, it's kind of getting to be a theme here. I mean, to be fair, I think I was supposed to explore this area a lot earlier. Oh no. I killed that enemy, but we've still got We're still in battle mode. You know what that means. Well, hello there. And still in battle mode. Lost, you see anything? Anything? Okay, they're on the next shore over.
Repent.
Your time is over.
Okay, now the battle's over. Yeah then. Duck. Okay, so apparently there's a area exit right next to... That's a weird one. There was the loose around here. There it is. Golden Chalice. Interesting choice of icon for it. Max Ding, here's a question. Do Diviners still go during surprise rounds even if they don't know why? Does that look cool in this game? Bam, battle mode, only one party member acts. It's the wizard and she's like, I don't know what's going on, but mage armor. To be fair, usually it's flavoured that Diviners do know what's going on, but they can't, even if they don't know on a... Well, it's like reverse metagaming, in that the character knows what's going on, but the player doesn't. And to be honest, I'm a sucker for situations like that. Because there's something inherently funny about them. Now, how do I get to the Lost Dwarven Fortress? I didn't really use many resources in that fight. Let's go. Max Sting, that doesn't sound as much fun to you as, oh shoot, spider sense. Fair enough. Nolus, Diviner.
Look alive, I think I just failed a listen check.
An ambush, eh?
Yeah, I mean, well, Nick would know more about this since he plays one. But in D&D, I think the equivalent of the Diviner, the wizard subclass that does that, basically gets to pre-roll d20s and use those, like, well, use them themselves or force an enemy. Basically, whenever someone rolls something, they can force them to use one of their portents. I think that's quite a good way to mechanically represent knowing the future. Anyway, apparently some dwarves got into a spot of bother here.
Time to shine.
So we're going to do the dungeony thing and do the dungeon. Oh, is that an iron golem? Well, thank goodness it hasn't worked out how to use stairs yet. Oh yeah, so the dwarf in my party is a cleric of the god of decay. Adamantine golem. Oh yeah, this is basically a boss fight. So I forget. The adamantine golem has some sort of weakness, but I can't remember what it is. Max Sting, you've got to reread some Order of the Stick. You should check for updates. Oh yeah, and Nolis is right. It's approaching the end game now. Nolis, you think I Just Failed a Spot Check is still one of your favourite Order of the Stick bits? Yeah. It's a really interesting comic, just because obviously it runs off 3.5 edition, and the sort of online comic started right when 3.5 did. So it's just sort of a time capsule of what that edition was like. Okay. I've got my sword out. So
Away, you rascal.
see what happens.
I don't tolerate threats.
Okay, that's one heck of an AC, I'm guessing. 33 plus 26 natural armor. Now, if only I could remember what the weakness of Mithril Golem is. Okay, so it's not that. Okay. It's immune to spell. It's immune to spells, but is it immune to? Axes? I think not. Okay, how well does it do against lightning damage? Let's find out. Oh, quite good actually. Yeah, to be fair, I think the creator of the Order of the Stick has outright said it's in the end game now, so okay, force damage. Oh, it's fallen. Okay, he's doing pretty good damage there. I don't think we have anything to worry about.
Stand down.
Aside from that. Let's see. Yeah, I forgot I had Blade Barrier. Let's see. Okay, we'll activate Destructive Aura.
They go down! Look at me, Gorham!
Okay, we're talking, I guess. Max Sting, looks like you're behind a page or two. Yeah, I signed up to the Patreon just because I get... You don't really get anything, but you get alerts every time a new comic goes live. And you get to ask early questions, which is fun. The golem freezes. Inside it, something vibrates in harmony, and the dents left by your weapons quickly repair. Harriam approaches the metal monster and examines it from head to toe.
An invisible idol, made of indestructible metal. Another proof of our empty pride. Every master wishes to create something that will outlive them. But why? So that their creation will live on a short while, before returning to dust with the rest of the universe. Ha! Masters. Masters.
Did Harriam just switch it off? Max Sting, you heard that dwarf is fun. He is. Yeah, he's basically an absolute nihilist. Like, not the sort of, hoo, I'm so edgy kind of nihilist. Like, he's a nihilist in the sort of absurdist sense, so sort of like, everything will eventually die, but hey, that's okay. Even if he is just, well, he's still got kind of a gloomy personality, but it's kind of nice. Exactly, DJ. Flaming Elmo. And yeah, apparently you can destroy indestructible golems without even trying. Harrim pulls the key. To his surprise, the whole lock comes out of the golem's body, along with the key. As Harrim stands amazed, the monster falls to pieces as if it were not made of the strongest metal in the world, but of rotten wood. Oh wow, adamantine with your bare hands? You're a beast. Spill it. When do you get so strong? You been lifting weights at night instead of praying? Oh, frack.
Oh, to Queen Brioche. Saved. We're so nearly done for.
I like how Harrim did all the work and I'm getting all the credit. That's my favourite part. Oh, thank you for the bits, DJ. Max Sting, you mean to be fair, a lot of us are gloomy. You're an existentialist. Your half-joke is a philosophical framework for an anxiety disorder. Oh, and you've been caught by ads. Okay, well, if the adverts are striking, I'm just going to take a quick look and check to see how the Tiefling cosplay is going. Oh, we're at 90%. 451,964. Nearly there. Amazing. It might even be filled by the time before I finish this. Oh yeah, personally I'm an absurdist, which is basically similar to existentialism, but it's less, basically, there is no meaning, but if you try to find a meaning, that's actually a meaning of its own, which is very much simplifying it, but hey, Albert Camus, cool guy. Probably not someone you'd want to be in a room with, but cool guy. One of the dwarves, clearly their leader, a grey-haired man with a massive symbol of Torag round his neck, jumps down from the hillock where the dwarves climb to escape the golem. He looks at Harrim, and what he's done astounded.
How? How'd you do it? That's impossible. Impossible. I don't know. I don't.
Who are you? The dwarf turns to you and bows ceremoniously.
Forgive me, your highness. The surprise made me lose all my manners. My name is Jamald Skjeg, paladin of Torag and a leader of this group. On behalf of our whole clan, I thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
And you must be Harrim, the priest of Grotus.
Yeah, so Grotus, I'll just mouse over, so there's a little tooltip there. If you're watching the VOD, you can pause that and check it. But long story short, basically the god of the apocalypse / end times. He just sort of hangs around in the sort of main afterlife demi-plane and stares down the goddess of death. Exactly, Max Sting. Tooltips, and welcome back. But yeah, it's nice that this game just occasionally lets you mouse over some of the more, if you have a lore term, you can mouse over and you guess it. It's a feature not every game implements. Like, if I recall correctly, it's the one thing, it's one of the things, what was it called again? You know, the Supergiant basketball game. Like, fantasy basketball visual novel thing. Pyre, that was it. Pyre did that really well. Max Ding, Tango Yankee. I don't guess it. Oh, TY. Yeah, that makes sense. Hey Yan, how's it going? Max Ding, that sounds fascinating. Yeah, it's sort of their... It's kind of one of their lesser-known games. Obviously, they've got Bastion and Transistor, which everyone agrees are pretty good. Then they made Pyre, which people are sort of divided on because the story is very good, but the gameplay's take it or leave it. And then, of course, they went and made Hades, which everyone agrees is absolutely amazing. And it really is the culmination of those last 3 games. Even if I've avoided streaming it, because, yeah, I don't like streaming roguelikes. But yeah, on with this.
I've heard a lot about you and the unusual path you've taken. I would like to speak with you.
So basically, Harem could just never make stuff, which is just every time he tried forging stuff, it just went wrong, which is a big deal for a dwarf. So he eventually started worshipping Grotus.
You would like? Well, I wouldn't like to even see you. We have nothing to discuss. This is just what I need to listen to another sermon about Torag's greatness.
The paladin replies to Harem's indignation with a humble bow.
I'm not so arrogant as to preach to a priest. Your faith is your choice.
Okay, this is my kind of paladin.
I'm not one to question it. I only wanted to know more about your spiritual journey.
In response, Harem only sniffs with contempt. But yeah, basically, Pyre. The plot is basically you're in a sort of an underworld where people are banished to for crimes from a civilization, and you basically play magical basketball for a chance to be sent back to the surface. And, like, there's a whole plot about you play as a team called the Nightwings, who are basically there to judge other teams, which sort of enables most of the gameplay options. But yeah, it's basically fantasy basketball league, and it's really hard to explain how it plays. But like, there's bird people, there's dog people, snake people, other snake people, but like water snake people. Max Ding, you adore this kind of paladin. It is exactly the kind of shoot your dwarven paladin would do. Your other paladins, since then, are more often fairly vulgar. Yeah, on Saturday I saw the D&D movie, and to be fair, that is a lawful good paladin done right. Like, bit of a stick up his arse still, but that's played for laughs, and he's a genuinely good person and not necessarily judgmental. Although, interestingly enough, I did actually sort of learn after watching it that he was originally going to be Drizzt, which also makes perfect sense, even though Drizzt's the archetypical chaotic good character. And, like, to be fair, he had some of the funniest scenes. Plus, my 2 friends I was with were really disappointed he didn't jump in the water when he first appeared. Oh yeah, there's a game. Harem, you've broken metal with your bare hands before. It's true, he has.
What? When did that happen, Brioche? Oh, wait. You talking about the anvil? Yes, I did do that. But why? I asked Grotus what it meant, but received no answer.
Harem pensively wraps his beard around his finger. Anyway, are you safe now?
Yes, your highness. May Torag bless the soil you walk upon.
Oh, thanks.
You saved us. The Steg clan is in your debt. Alas, we have no treasure to reward you for your kind aid. But that is only temporary, believe me. When we find a way inside the fortress and recover the legacy of our ancestors, you'll see that no one can accuse the Steg clan of stinginess. I have no idea how Steg is supposed to be pronounced properly. Like, I'm guessing it's sort of Norse-inspired, but... Oh, yeah, just checking the chat hadn't frozen on my mobile app there. Gibelost. Typical gratitude for dwarven clans. Just so you know, Brioche, when they say they're in irredeemable debt, it really just means they're never going to pay. Well, I didn't know, Gibelost. If you've never been paid by a dwarf, maybe that's a you problem. Harem sneers bitterly.
Look at them, Brioche. Here they are, true children of Torak. Greedy, conceited, unable to see beyond their own noses. They barely escaped death, and there they are, diving into its maw again, blinded by the glitter of imaginary treasures. I contemplated making them leave, but let us allow them to stay, and continue what they're doing. If they're in such a hurry to dig their own graves, let us not interfere. Thank you. I see you've no love for your people or our god. No, don't be so quick to frown. I've got no wish to preach you. But I believe you said you broke the unbreakable with your bare hands. Please tell me about this. I think I have an idea of what power lies within you.
Maxting, Gibelost, do you think the problem is your timescale's too short? To be fair, I think gnomes live about the same amount of time as dwarves. Actually, no, gnomes live indefinitely in this setting. Basically, they die when they sort of don't have enough fun going on in their lives, and they suffer what's called the bleaching, where they just sort of start rapidly aging and start suffering from fantasy Alzheimer's. Harem.
The searing palm.
Harem's voice sounds dull and lifeless.
The magic anvil in the desolate bronze shield fortress, desecrated by trolls. It was destroyed by my fist as if it were made of sand, or wood that had rotted from within, and only waited to be touched to fall to dust.
Jarmeld pensively holds his hand upon Torag's hammer, which hangs about his neck.
Could it be?
Jarmeld, what are you talking about? What power hides inside Harem?
The touch of the Unmaker. This is a rare, very rare gift of the gods. It happens once in a generation. I can't say who grants it. Perhaps Torag, perhaps Grotus. Or perhaps it comes from some other source we know nothing about. It is the power to give death to things which live beyond their proper time.
Oh, cool. Does that mean if we run into a leash, we can also kill them? I'd say no, because we already ran into a leash. Lich.
Ill things created with flaw, like this golem. Desecrated like the anvil. The robust creations of dwarven hands that beg for death and must continue to exist. A dwarf blessed by the touch of the Unmaker can put an end to their suffering. Nonsense. I've never heard of this. If Grotus granted me this power, why do I have to find out about it from some paladins of a traitor god? The god of helplessness and cowardice. A gift of the gods by Grotus. You prove it, or admit you're lying.
Oh cool, I've passed a law religion check. Jarman listens carefully to the stream of insults raining down him from Harem. When the latter has finally spent his breath, the paladin replies quietly.
Yes, I can prove it.
Okay, law religion check passed. Harem, his words make sense. Maybe what you thought was Torag's curse was actually a gift from the gods, which your kin simply couldn't understand. Harem winces as if all his teeth started aching at once, but then nods reluctantly.
It is possible. But then Torag and his followers are even more stupid and blind than I thought. Just imagine, Brioche. If this is true, the reason for my woe is not a curse, but a simple fact that my kin was wise enough to recognize a divine gift.
The priest shakes his head and looks at the paladin.
You said you can prove your words, Jarmold. I challenge you now.
Continue.
The touch of the Unmaker is not only the power to destroy. He can take the heart from an item, or the love and effort put into it by its maker, by the mercy of Torag. Strike the golem once more, complete the unmaking, and show us its heart.
Okay.
Where?
Well then. Items received, Heart of the Golem. Harrim looks gloomily at the quiet golem, and then shrugs and smashes it with his fists. The golem falls to fragments with a pitiful clink. Leaning down to search for the pieces, Harrim takes hold of a shimmering blue jewel. He examines it, then turns it to you. The priest's face is sad and battled.
There, a gift from Torag. Be he damned. So what's next? What do we do with it now?
If it's a gift from Torag, then give it to his servant. Harrim hands the jewel to Jarmuld. Max Day, you mostly just like the idea of holding to a reasonable definition of lawful good that's not dangerously foolish or cruel and obnoxious. And that in turn is mostly because of Ochil from Order of the Stick. Oh yeah, I really should try and get those prequel sort of books. Because I think he gets an origin story in that. Because he is one of the most interesting characters and he's only a side character in the main sort of comic.
Thank you for telling me of my gift, Jarmuld, but do not expect it will reconcile me of Torag, or of my people. If you find a way to make good use of it, fine. If not, it doesn't matter. You can keep looking for the entrance, or go back to your mountains. I care not.
Jarmuld lowers his head.
Thank you, Hautmund. I'll make good use of this gift. I am sorry that everything turned out the way it did, but I respect your decision and won't try to convince you. Farewell.
Harrim turns to you.
Gifts from the gods, curses from the gods, I'm starting to think it's all the same thing. But thank you for coming here with me. I probably wouldn't have even talked to this Jarmund on my own, but now, I have much to contemplate. Let us go, Brioche. Let us leave these Sheg to do as they will.
Okay. I'll catch you later, Skater. Oh, one of them died. Say, wait, saved. We were nearly so done for. You know what one of my minor pet peeves is? When they're cowards and don't give, dwarven women beards. Let's have a look round here. Any loot? Anyone see loot? I didn't see any loot. And yes, be fair, calling him a very important cast member is probably understating it a bit.
I'll share my path.
DC 26 mobility check, climb the hill. Climb the hill. Okay, I'm gonna climb the hill.
Easy.
Okay, I'm gonna guess that was a glitch. Hey, 56 free experience. Or maybe the reason it glitched out was because I was supposed to do that before defeating the golem. And I just had a sort of talk to add another way other than combat out of it. Oh well. Nolus, you have 2 of the prequel books, but you don't think Ochil showed up in either. Were there more? Yeah, I think there's one that's just sort of a bunch of vignettes for minor characters, and another one that's basically the a compilation of the ones that were published in Dragon magazine. Yeah, but I don't want to spend the entire stream basically talking about a webcomic. Clan owes you. Right, they do. Hail to Queen Brioche. Yes. Also good weather. Okay, we're done here. Let's go. Max Sting, in fairness, is a heck of a comic. This is true. Basically what got me to... I mean, I was aware of D&D because I had a starter set. Like, I think it was Advanced D&D. But it's really what got me into D&D proper. Max Sting, your mum brought you to the gaming table when you were 5. Well, you had one cool mother. Okay, next up is the inconsequent debates. Doubtless there'll be consequences.
I decree we set up camp.
Oh, we're gonna fight an encounter tard and you're gonna like it.
Resting would be nice,
Oh,
don't you think?
time to get some rest, isn't it?
Max Sting, he punched one of
Got ahead.
gaming buddies in the face for telling you that boys don't cry. Go back Sting's mother.
Come at me, I dare you.
Oh, crossbow. Yeah, I keep forgetting I'm wearing a crown.
You offend me.
Oh damn, 22 damage. Oh, sneak attacks. Okay, we're gonna have to nuke him. Explosive bomb.
Could be worse. And will be. Definitely will be.
Okay. And fierce, that's one way to take a firm stance. Exactly. Max Sting, when you came out to your mum as non-binary 5 years ago, she pondered and said she might be using the same word for herself as she of your generation. And you spent the next hour talking about childhood experience of gender dysphoria. Heck yeah. I mean, I knew my mum was always supportive, but...
Your life ebbs low.
I mean, obviously I was nervous about coming out to my parents, but I was never afraid just because she's always been sort of trans supportive anyway.
I'll lie down for a moment.
Not quite on that level. Yep, Spritch down one goblin.
Could be worse. And will be. Definitely will be.
Your time is over.
Aram's down, because I didn't get a chance to heal him, which is kind of a nuisance. Maxting, you're nervous, but that was mostly because it's so unpredictable. There's always surprises. The surprise in your case is what your youngest sibling, who is trans, was the only one to object. What? They got over it. Well, I'm glad they got over it. Who's next in there? A goblin. Far away. Oh, not though. Oh good. Jubilost, nuke these two idiots.
This spell has other uses.
Serves you right.
Oh yeah, that guy's there.
Bring it!
I love how that played out. That goblin was like, do 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 do, sneak attack, dink, splotch.
Away, you rascal!
Yep, just run up to my kineticist. Get reduced to ash. Maxting, Goblin Death Eye. Apparently named for what happened to them. Exactly. Oh, up you get. Come on, come closer, don't be shy. Okay, do I have any touch-based attacks? I'll cast Stone Skin. One who needs healing still up, so... yeah, got Hold Person. Who looks more annoying? Oh wow. Stone Skin's a lot more powerful than I thought. Bit of a waste.
Stand down.
They're called Death Eyes because they can't hear with their eyeballs.
You deserved it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that guy.
Tear them apart!
62 out of 100, achievement progress, survivor.
Resting would be nice, don't you think?
I guess.
People are so busy with pointless worldly vanity. They'd be better off spending their short lives accepting the end with dignity.
I think, most honorable harem, that your dreams of death are like a child, dreaming of becoming an adult and having candy before dinner. Sweet, silly hopes that pass with time.
I mean, to be fair, you don't lose the option of having candy before dinner. You just kind of learn why you can't, or rather shouldn't. Massive reach. When I click how much? How do I get to the incubates?
I decree we set up camp.
Okay, that failed. That failed. This isn't going well, is it? Okay, so only Octavia can do that. I need to not be adventuring. Oh well. Oh hey Terras. Oh, Max Ding, you need to head off, that's fine. Thanks for dropping by as always, and I hope you have a good, whatever it is. Terras, you haven't played any games for weeks now, give you motivation. You can do it, play those games. Just this morning, I finally found time to play Resident Evil 4 for the first time since, like a month after it came out. Must have been less than a month, because it can't have been out for more than a month, can it? And yes, exactly, Maxting. Ganabate. I think that's how it's pronounced. No good with Japanese. Oh, will too have fun. Anyway, let's see if we can find the inconsequent debates.
Resting would be nice, don't
Okay,
you?
found them. Okay, let's have a little rest. What time's it?
I need your ideas. Who is that storyteller who's living in the capital? How could an elf look so old? It shouldn't be possible.
Maybe he's a spirit pretending to be mortal so he can watch us? But is he a good spirit or an evil one?
Guys, stop writing fanfiction about my advisors. Maxting, have you tried Nightclub's Showdown? A game from a game jam that's kind of like John Wickish, turn-based. Oh, is it anything like fights in tight spaces? Which is itself a bit like Super Hot, but like a card-based thing. Turn-based card thing. Kingdom stuff. River Tricksters. Okay, let's do something about that. Do this. Terras Super Hot Bit in 2D. Yeah, like isometric 2D. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna take a quick pee break thinking about it. So I'll just start 3 minutes of adverts to see if that helps sort of limit the amount of adverts we get in a bit. And I'll be right back. Make sure you all behave yourselves. Seconds and go. And we're back. Hope you've all been behaving yourselves. Also, I hope the I hope the advertising time's over. Max staying on Nightclub Showdown. Is it super hot but in 2D? Kind of, but they do differ. But there are some important similarities. Yes. Oh yeah. So, before we continue, it's time for the all-important. Ah yes, and Fizz, you always behave yourself. You've never done anything wrong in your life, and for this we love you. Disclaimer. The implication there was that we love Enfys for the things the fact they do not have done many things wrong. Not to imply no one loves them or anything. Okay, anyways. A very pale gnome with dull brittle hair is scribbling something busily on a small scroll, not looking up as you approach.
Oh, here you are. At last. Go read the rules quickly. They're posted a little further along. The other teams are already arrived a while ago. The host said we'll start as soon as you show up and read the rules.
Yep, I guess we should show up and read the rules then.
Of course. I'm famous enough for my admirers to follow my every move. But still, I'd like to know. How do you know we're coming?
The gnome shrugs.
Host said so. Well, you gonna keep wasting time? Read the rules and we'll start.
Hey, where are the rules? Hey Giant Frog, how's it going?
My brother's just stupid. We're educated frogs. Haha.
Ribbit, ribbit?
What else would you expect a frog to say?
So all three?
I can't think of anything but tentacles.
I think I'm going to enjoy this side quest. Kobolds.
Jump, mice, my friends. Good to have friends.
Jubilost. Fixing his gaze, Jubilost looks at the paper describing the rules.
Well, let's see. I'll read out loud so that everyone can hear. Rules of the inconsequent debates. Yet to be added later. I see the authors didn't overstrain themselves. So, the rules. Item 1. Obey the host in everything. Item 2. Come in triplets. Item 3. No fighting, no killing each other, even temporarily. Even if you really want to. Even if you apologise later. Item 4. The most important one. The participant must assume the shape of a giant frog.
Jubilost looks puzzled.
A frog? What does that have to do with anything? Are those the right rules for the competition? What irresponsible wordmonger me...
I was not expecting that.
What is this? Am I a frog?
Yes, Jubilost, you have been made the protagonist of a Disney movie. Wait, there was a Disney movie literally where the main character became a frog. I think it was called The Princess Who Became a Frog. Okay, perception check. Examine the rules. Something is obviously wrong here. Okay, I don't think I can actually fail this check, but... It's not difficult to see that the text of the last item of the rules is a little different from the others. It looks like someone just added it in, vaguely copying the style. The last rule has been added to the others. I would say someone inserted it on purpose and charmed the scroll somehow.
That's sabotage. The huge frog can keep his peace.
Wait, the huge frog can't keep his peace and croaks in indignation.
Turning me, into a giant ugly toad? How would you please tell me, am I supposed to participate in the debates like this? I didn't carefully rehearse my image and the impressions I make on my listeners just to lose it all in a snap. And what if this spell can't be lifted? My admirers won't even recognise me.
Well, don't worry. Everyone who's met you already visualises you as a giant toad. Don't be upset. You're not an ugly frog. In fact, you're a rather handsome one. She has a point.
No, I can't bear this. Are you saying the last rule was written in? Some other participant must have done it to hinder their rivals. Brioche, we need to find the trickster and make them fix it.
Don't worry, I'll question everyone here and identify the trickster. Don't worry about anything. I'll go run to the host and ask him a few questions for my book. It'll buy you some time. You start looking for whoever's responsible for this. Greetings, I am Sir Ulfrey, loyal follower of the tentacles of Iomedae.
What?
Oh, is Nightbot misbehaving? Oh yeah, how's the community challenge going? Still not at 90%. Very close. Iomedae, also known as the Inheritor, Light of the Sword and Lady of Valor, is the goddess of righteous valor, justice and honor. Okay, there's nothing there about tentacles.
Knight, noble and crusader from Mendev. Tentacles. Oh yes, my knightly motto used to be courteous even in death, but I'm afraid it must now be changed to severing the tentacles of evil.
Okay.
In just a few phrases, he managed to pour more pomposity on us than I can imagine in a week. Quite a talent.
The tentacles of evil? And why is it that you want to change the motto, sir?
You see, on my arrival, I immediately went to read the tentacles of the event, but Guile already had me in its tentacles. The rules were charms, and everyone who reads them must say tentacles every so often. Which is happening to me now. Tentacles. If I can't get rid of this affliction, at least tentacles, I can make it my motto.
He has a point. Did you try to talk to the hosts about this?
I did. In the name of the tentacles. But they think that cheating within the rules is tentacles, and perfectly appropriate. As a true knight, I must overcome these tentacles resolutely.
Do you have any idea who could have done this to the rules? A Fey trickster's going to be like, well, we're all trying to find the guy who did this. Enfys, he has a point. Is he a horned toad? Okay, do you have any idea who could have done this to the rules?
It was done by one of the participants who allowed their tentacles to guide their hearts. Including you and me and my tentacles. 4 teams of 3 arrived. I swear by my tentacles, my service to the most honest, Iomedae, would never allow such tentacles, nor would I suspect you and your outstanding companions, noble tentacles all. Look for the villain among the other 2 teams.
So you're a Mendevian Crusader?
Truly spoken, I hope you've heard about our glorious tentacles. Our order fights demons fearlessly, preventing their tentacles from spreading across the... Sorry. Preventing their tentacles from spreading across the world.
You don't often meet an Azamar in these lands. Like, you've literally been buying scrolls from one for the entire game. Nolas, you're back. What hentai have we stumbled into? Oh, don't worry, he's just forced to say the word tentacles. No actual tentacles are involved.
Azamars are not so uncommon in our tentacles.
Wait. Azamars are not so uncommon in our tentacles.
Celestials are known to aid Mendevian Crusaders in our war against the demons. Sometimes this camaraderie sparks a tentacle. I mean personal attraction. But just the presence of a holy celestial nearby can sometimes cause the birth of an Azamar child. See? Easy as tentacles.
Nolas, Azamar are tentacle monsters in Pathfinder. No, Nolas, they aren't. As I said, he's just been cursed, so he has to say the word tentacle a lot. You know, like how Smurfs always say the word Smurf. Does that mean his name's Tentacle now? Are you participating in the debates?
I most certainly am. By my tentacles. I've come here to carry out the will of my tentacles and set a good example for my tentacles. And possibly to find a new way to fight tentacles. That is, demons. If I win, the Fae may answer all of my tentacles.
I think I have to go. I know how this hentai ends.
Before you leave, let me ask you, and in the name of tentacles, don't consider it out of curiosity, what need brought you to the tentacles debates? That would be me. I asked for the Baroness's help.
Excuse me, but that's Queen Brioche to you now.
I asked for the Baroness's help in these tentacles, in this endeavour, because winning would... Let us ask what made the tentacles, what caused the gnome to leave the First World. For me, these tentacles are something more than mere scientific curiosity.
Guess Jubilos has been afflicted as well. Nolas, I sent you my tentacle. Please respond. Exactly, Nolas. Curse the Tory with hentai brain. All of you to assume they haven't already been afflicted. Oh yeah, for those who don't know the lore, the First World is the, basically the, Fey realm for this setting. The Fey Wilds would be the equivalent in 5th edition D&D.
I'm amazed at how inquisitive the tentacles of your mind are, sir. I admit it's the first tentacles that I've ever talked to such a learned frog. Tentacles. Forgive my ignorance, but it's never crossed my feeble tentacle that there are educated ones among your race.
Wow.
For the love of Desna, I'm not a frog. Let it be known to you, sir, that you are speaking to Gibelos Narflopple, well-known publisher and researcher. This shape but the consequence of a silly prank. I am a gnome, and that is why I am participating in the debates, to learn how my race received the affliction called the bleaching, and discover a way to fight it.
Oh yeah, so the bleaching is basically the, old age equivalent for, gnomes. Basically, if they don't have enough fun and whimsy in their life, they just super age on the spot.
In that case, I wish our worthy rivals good tentacles. In the name of truth, justice, and tentacles.
Anything to say for yourself, Kobold? A little kobold raises his little snoot at you.
Greetings!
It says snout, but it... Really, could you ask me not to say snoot? Really? Notice why Jubilost isn't dead, then you fail to grasp. Well, it's interesting, because he's basically an adventurer. He's been having excitement, just not very, like... He's having excitement in the same way a paladin's gone exciting crusades. That's to say, with a stick up his arse. And constantly acting pompous. Exactly, Enfys. Truth, honour, justice. That's the tentacle way. Anyways, are you participating in the debates too? The kobold brightens.
Yes, participate! I participate!
Amazing. We'll be competing against the inoculate kin of unforgettable Tartuk. The kobold looks at Jubilost with interest.
Here's Frog. You speak? Can me mount you? I feed you ants. Clean you skin. I am rider.
There is no such thing as a bad kobold when they show up, and I should really consider rolling a kobold. If only because the voice is really fun to do. In the list of all the job offers I've ever received, that will be honourably placed in the I'm ready to cry section. Now, come on, Jubilost. Be his Battle Frog. His Battle Toad. Why'd you have those jaboas there? The kobold lowers his head.
They say I need free. I know free. I know friends.
Huh?
Wanted to go very much. Caught this jump mice. Now we are free. Participate.
It's like a spell was cast over my friend when he read the rules. Did anything like that happen to you? Wait, is the kobold just illiterate?
I don't read. Gnome help me. Read for me, aloud. But then scream. I scared.
So what do you want to ask the host if you win?
Dragon. How become dragon?
Ah yes, the classic kobold aspiration. Alright, I'll go.
See you.
The pale gnome reads aloud enthusiastically.
And the young wizard desperately thrashed about in his fetters, but all in vain. The shoots of the plants held him tightly. The nymph, cruel and beautiful, sneered at him, and immediately...
And immediately what? And immediately anything. The left frog is mocking the right one. Does this book ever end? I thought the wizard would die in the last chapter, while he was running from the horde of unicorns through the fields of giant fly traps. Wow, don't think I've ever read that Discworld novel.
Oh, like you understand anything about literature, you stupid toad.
The gnome looks at you.
Oh, hello again, travellers.
It seems I haven't introduced myself. I'm Nerd Zottenvroppel, and these two idiots are my brothers, Vire and Lua. So what did the nymph immediately do to the wizard?
It's too much to tell. She keeps him hostage for another 4 chapters.
I like it when it's more like real life. In this author's last book, he escapes from the evil wizard in 5 minutes. Exactly, Enfys. Nerd. No less you want this kobold to beat Jubilost in debate so bad. Why are you calling these frogs your brothers?
These fools read the rules, and the rules are charmed.
Nerd's colourless and dim eyes flare up with a mad and joyful fire. Anyone who reads them turns into a frog. So now I have 2 frog brothers, I guess. I guess I'll leave them as they are. When else will I have a chance to laugh so much? And why are they both frogs? Did they read them together? Yes. Nerd responds quickly. Nah, the frog on the right says happily.
Shut up, Luar. Of course we did. We've read them and we transformed. Now we're sitting and croaking.
The little kobold said one of you helped him read the rules.
Yes, that's true. But he wasn't trying to read the frog rules. They're different on every pole. One turns you into a frog, another makes you say tentacles, and the third one makes you scream like crazy. Hilarious, right?
Wait. So why's Jubilost doing the tick for both of them?
Not remotely.
You look pale.
She looks bleached.
Jubilost's voice is grim. It's alright. I've got a fair bit of fight left in me. The Zottenroppels don't go down easy. Nerd smiles cunningly. My brothers and I lost our colour long ago, but death still hasn't taken us. Oh yeah, so the iconic summoner in Pathfinder 1st edition is a unbleached gnome, but he basically has white hair because of his, summoning stuff. So he keeps getting, and he gets all grumpy when people ask him about it. Are you participating in the debates? Sure. Although we're really just here to see the show. We figured it would be fun, and we were right. You're confused, my friends. If one of you read the rules for the kobold, why isn't one of you screaming? How's it that both of your brothers were turned into frogs? And if Nerd already saw what happened and knew the rules were charmed, then why did she tell us to read them? Question. Do you suspect us of something? Why would we charm the rules and read them ourselves? Or make you read them and put a spell on you? Nerd adjusts her ridiculous helm and strikes a rakish pose.
Because you're gnomes. Only a gnome could think playing a joke on everyone around, and then joyfully getting caught in their own prank.
He has a point. You're far-sighted and loud-voiced. I like you. Answer clearly. Did you charm the rules?
Why are you picking on us? Our sister's the one who did it. Enough snitching, Lua. You're just jealous it was Nerd who came up with the idea.
And why'd you do it? It's so boring. We wanted to, so we did. Just think how funny it would be. Debates where all the participants are screaming or talking about tentacles or just croaking. Nerd roars with laughter. But we're honest players, so we charmed ourselves too. We wouldn't want an unfair advantage. I can't fault this logic. See you in a bit, Nerdless. Stop this immediately and release Jubilos from the spell.
Croak. Croak, croak. We're just stupid frogs and we understand nothing.
Nerd pretends not to hear anything.
Brioche, I know this is unexpected, but let's just leave it be. I'm ready to participate in the debates, even like this, croaking all the way.
Well, I say it's a prime prank. Let's see if everything is. Okay. Intimidate. I literally have to... Okay, I actually have a decent chance of passing this. You think I won't use force, despite the rules on non-aggression? Lift the spell? Or else. Success. Nerd looks at you angrily. I spent so much time getting this prank ready. If you only knew how hard it is when there's almost no colour left in you. Fine, here you go. Oh, there you are. Glad I found you. I stalled for time as long as I could, but now it's time to begin. Let's go quickly. The host. The hooded creature looks mundane. After looking for a time, one might notice the figure's contours tremble and flow, as in a haze.
Welcome to the inconsequent debates. You can call us the host. We are the reason for all that happens here today. You've read the rules, have you not? Not that there's anything useful in them. We only made up the real rules the day after tomorrow, then forgot them and had to make new ones. So it's simple. You want, as your reward, for us to answer a question. So the competition will involve answering questions. We ask, and one needs triplet answers. And always the same one. The others can only prompt. Let's see, it will be you, little kobold, you, Sir Alfrey, you, Nerd, and you, Brioche.
Brioche, that's me.
Remember one thing? Here at the inconsequent debates, there are no right or wrong answers. Each answer has weight, and it should be weighed. Don't choose the lightest one, your rival might find a heavier argument. And most importantly, light answers are no fun for us.
Why are you referring to yourself in the plural, host? I'm not saying that. Well, I suppose, might as well check. Do they use they them pronouns, or... You hear laughter emerge from under the hood.
You know very well, you've met us, Brioche. But it was a different us at a different time. For now be satisfied that we do not wish to disclose ourselves.
Oh wait, was this the gnome who was in the first world? That makes sense. Tell us, why do you, creatures from the first world, need to organise all this?
Win the competition and ask. Those are the rules of the game, right?
They have a point.
Hell no, we're not wasting a precious question to discover the motives of the Fae and their lords. I don't have the imagination to think about how absurd and silly their answer might be.
Which is, to be fair, quite funny. Okay, let's begin.
Begins!
The kobold jumps from joy.
We are ready.
The knight nods resolutely.
Despite the tentacles.
Nerd Zottenroppel. Alright, let's see how tough they have it in the first world.
Some of you look so serious. Thus we'll begin with a question about weighty matters. What can move a mountain?
Gibelos, Lindsay, what's her answer? Oh, I shouldn't have skipped my philosophy lessons at the academy. Such problems baffle me. It's not because I can't think of an answer, but because I think of 1,000 of them at once. And I don't know where I can hide from them.
Let's see. We're dealing with Fae in the first world, and they told us clearly that trivial answers would cut it. I think a good answer is its own will. In the first world, mountains often change position, and there's at least one that does it of its own free will. That's Ulas, one of the Tain, the walking mountain. Kind of like... I'm really tempted to say my grandmother. Terras, my favourite Double Fine games, go.
Psychonauts, Brutal Legend, and I can't actually name any others. Well, I can name others, but I haven't played them, so... Okay, I'm kind of tempted to just say my grandmother. Do I want to say my grandmother? Can I save? Nope. Yeah, I'm just going to say my grandmother.
We don't know the worthy lady, but something tells us that this answer is not serious. What will the others say?
The little kobold frowns desperately.
Maybe dragon? Dragon can move mountain? Faith and divine interpretation. Do you hear, my faithful tentacles? Faith nourishes us. With devout faith in our tentacles and a righteous cause, everything is within our tentacles.
Terras, not even Costume Quest. Oh wow, I forgot about that. Notice there is an Ask Me Anything point redeem. Just so I know. Oh, sorry. Alright, you're saying that to Terras, sorry. Teleportation spell. I could probably manage moving a hill or two. In fact, that gives me an idea.
We have heard you, now you hear us. Of course, gods and magic can move mountains. But that answer is good for any question. How can one jump over the house? Magic. How to paint a fence yellow using blue paint? Divine intervention? Sound such light answers are the weakest. We'll probably award victory in this round to no one, even the dragon. Let the next question be heard.
Okay. Being silly didn't win the game then.
What weakens when owned by many and dies if owned by none?
Jubilost?
That's a no-brainer. It's glory. It can't belong to many, because then it's devalued. And it can't belong to no one either.
Okay. Glory be. The little kobold looks as if he's about to cry.
I don't know, there's... maybe it's dragon?
Oh, thank you for redeeming, Ask Me Anything on Principal Terrace.
It is in the knight's heart. I swear by my tentacles. It can belong to himself, or to his righteous cause, or to his greatest tentacles. It can't belong to everybody. Oh yeah, look how I can roll my eyes.
Balls, concentrate on the competition.
This won't do. We won't accept the answer from the Zos and Ruffle triple this round, but you are a spectacular eye roller. Now, as for the other questions, the heart is not the best answer. Even among knights, there are many whose hearts belong to beautiful women and a beloved mother, plus their friends, their commander, their righteous cause, and a delicious lunch. Especially a delicious lunch, and it doesn't seem that those hearts belong to many grow any weaker.
Yeah, poor kobold Enfys. The kobold here is the real champion.
Glory is a poor answer. Only an extremely egotistical person who does not wish to share credit could think that it shouldn't belong to many. One's own glory does not diminish anyone else's. We were almost prepared to agree on the dragon, but alas, no one gains victory this round.
Oh my god, is this the Jubilost Rose session? This is great.
Here the third question. Each of us is born at the same time with a monster. Each day we live, it grows. It can torment, even bring us joy, or kill without a single wound.
What is it?
An evil twin brother from another timeline. Terras, ideas and improvements for a Brutal Legend sequel. At the risk of sounding predictable, make the protagonist a girl. Or, you know, at least give us a choice. Nolus, you want to say memory. Enfys, you hope the kobold gets 1 point and wins. Yes, that'll be the best outcome. Okay, what do you say, Jubilost?
Considering the question is asked by the representative of the Fae, the answer could be anything from singing to the love of pastries. But let's think logically. The last part of the riddle can easily be ignored, just because just about anything in the world can aid or ruin you depending on the circumstances. What's important is that the riddle clearly points to some quality or property of a living creature. Something that is born with us. Another point, it grows. I would say knowledge. Each new day brings something new, so our knowledge of ourselves and the world keeps growing. For some, though, the process is ridiculously slow.
Okay, let's go with knowledge because, seriously, Jubilost, roast session.
We have heard you. What will the others say? What is the monster?
The little kobold grabs his head stressed.
Maybe it's... dragon?
Oh my god, yes, I hope the kobold gets one right answer for dragon. Terras, like we would play as Eddie's girlfriend. You know full well that's not what I meant. Nolus, change your answer, the love of pastries. Enfys, you see how this works? Clever of them. Oh wow, Enfys understands how the Fae work. What a shock. Nolus, if one is going to listen to what Jubilost says, at least it's ironically. Exactly. It's curiosity. It is born with us, it grows day by day, it saves us from the bleaching, and if you only knew how many it's killed... To be fair, it only kills cats, so I'm safe. Or am I?
I don't know if the answer will do, but the greatest tentacles of all is the one that lives inside us. We grow a tentacles beast in our soul, we feed it with wrath, neglect, and tentacles. Eventually it could break free and kill us. But tentacles must admit, the same beast gives strength to villains and tentacles. The poison we feed our monsters only nourishes them.
Interesting answers. Except for the dragon. The dragon doesn't count, alas. Curiosity is also insufficient. The monster we described must by its own nature grow. Many see their curiosity dim over the years. We like the answers about knowledge and the inner beast, but both seem somewhat light. We expected something more substantial. We declare that both Sir Alfred and Brioche, along with their triplet, shall share the victory for this round. But remember, a victory shared by two is half the victory.
Okay. Alfred getting a point by accident. Nolus? That would be very funny. If, like, the curse that, was supposed to inhibit him actually secured him the win.
One final trial, and we will sum up the results. I grow tired of questions. Do you know the game? Knight, Dragon, Snag. The knight defeats the dragon burns the snag, but if the knight walks in the woods, he will stumble on the snag and die. That is why the snag defeats the knight.
Children's games. Great.
These are the inconsequent debates. Why not play a game? Would you like to play a game? So, you break up into pairs and yell out your chosen word at the signal. The one who shouts knight defeats the one who shouts dragon. The one who shouts dragon defeats the one who shouts snag. And snag defeats knight. You'll play Alfred against the kobold.
Oh no, the kobold's going to lose because so Alfred's going to say knight and the kobold's going to say dragon.
And Nerd, Zop and Froddle against the Baroness. The winners will then play each other. Is the first pair ready? Yell on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Knight.
Dragon!
Oh, I was right. Nerdless, your surface level guess is that the gnome says snag, but you don't know.
This was all too predictable, but charming in a way.
The host is obviously enjoying the game.
It's a good thing we didn't look ahead. It's much more fun to see it unfold like this. So Alfred wins. Now for the second pair. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Yep, Enfys is a sad day for kobolds. Which is the worst day possible. Nerdless, your surface level guess is the gnome says snag, but you don't know. Yeah, because that makes sense, because gnomes are all about whimsy, so the idea of a knight dying and getting tripped over is just so gnome.
Dragon!
Nerd shouts, performing a spot-on impersonation of the kobold, then falls over laughing. Looks like her own amusement is more important to her than the competition. And yet... Oh wait, no, she said exactly what I said.
A tie. Let's go again. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, she's trying to psych me out. I'm gonna go snag. Snag? Oh, is that another tie? The Baroness is like my other sister. We think exactly the same. Wait, so is the implication there that she was trying to bluff me? But she knew I was going to bluff her, and she's trying to be silly. So she was actually not necessarily just trying to bluff me, she was also being silly.
Let's go again. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
You like that, Nolus? Okay, I'm really into this. So, Knight's the only one that's not been said. Snag! Snag, snag, snag! Hooray! Damn it.
Naya Ruffle wins this round. Don't sigh so mournfully, Sir Jubilost. Your disappointment will make all the flowers within 100 steps wilt and die. Besides, all is not lost. The results have yet to be tallied. The final pair, Nerd against Sir Alfred. 1, 2, 3.
Oh. Either way, whoever wins the point will win the game now. So Alfred takes a deep breath from his mighty chest, but then the curse takes over. Tentacles! Nerd begins, but then she hears what her opponent shouted and refuses to finish, and doubles over with laughter. Nolus, you figured she'd expect me to say dragon and would say knight.
No one wins the round. Well, it was fun anyway. And now it's time to announce the winner of the debates. Me. because I got to see you all make fools of yourself. After 4 tests, the triplet of Sir Alfred and the triplet of the Baroness have the same score, but there can only be one winner. What shall we do?
Fight to the death? Shall we fight to the death? The knight stands tall and proud.
There is no need to choose. Give the tentacles to the Baron. Okay. Give the tentacles to the Baroness and Sir Jubilos and Arthropple. I swear by my tentacles, my squires and I have put a lot into this crusade, but a knight's tentacles means respecting the worthy rivals. From all our hearts and tentacles, we cede this victory.
So let it be. Baroness, as the only one of your triplet, you may ask your question. Think carefully, we'll answer honestly, but I don't know is also an honest answer. Ask about something important, and something that a host from the First World might know the answer to.
Brioche, do you remember the fate of the Jubilos suddenly stops talking. He opens and closes his mouth, but makes not a sound.
Have a silence spell, mate. Love it.
Okay, I've been giving this guy the wrong... Well, this person the wrong voice the entire time. Oh, wait, no. I misread it and thought it was the host. Oh, well. Have a silent spell, mate. I love it. Now, what's he going to do? Come, brothers, let's run.
Now everything is in your hands, Brioche. Think well upon your questions. We'll answer honestly, but I don't know is also an honest answer.
Okay. So let's see, I can ask, I want to know why the gnomes left the First World, which is what Jubilos wanted. I want to know about this affliction, the bloom that fell on my barony. I want to know why you organised all this host. I want to know who my love is, with whom I'm bound to tie my lot. I want to know how to gain power and immortality. Any suggestions for a good pet name? Yeah, you're right, Nihilus. That's not a bad question. Number 6. But, and it would be very funny to screw over Jubilos, but this is kind of his quest, so.
There is the question. We knew it would be asked, but a simple answer, a light answer, has no value, right? We hope our debates convinced you of this. That is why we present to you another answer, a good one, a valuable one.
Sorry, by the way, I'm speaking through my mouth. I want to try and get an echo effect. And it's not like I have voice filters set up, so.
Numbers will help you on your way. One of them is 5 in 10. It will be easy to find if you read Who Opened the Road for the Ancient Dead Man and His Black-Feathered Messenger. The second is a dozen times in a dozen, and is thrice the number of those who lost their faces. Don't try to guess it now, it's not yet time. Wait until he is born twice, will twice be defeated. Put the 2 numbers together. When the moon leaves her path, near the waters of the Candlemere, find the one who will open the secret.
Okay, so wait, this is a summary of, Who opened the road for the ancient dead man, his black-feathered messenger. The second is a dozen in a dozen, and is thrice the number of those who lost their faces. Don't try to guess it now, it's not time yet. Wait until he is born twice, will twice be defeated. Okay, we've done that story quest. Put 2 numbers together when the moon leaves her path. Near the waters of Candlemere. Find the one who will open the secret. Okay, so the library in Candlemere. No less, to be honest, the host voice is a tad loud. I guess I was basically using my hand as a megaphone, so that makes sense. This is a long riddle. It's one of those. Is it one of those spelling ones? Yeah, I think it's basically a plot summary so far. But I'm not sure what when the moon leaves her path is. Near the waters of the Candlemere. Okay, so Candlemere Keep.
A heap of senseless mumbo-jumbo instead of a... First walk the road, then you may accuse us of being senseless. But in the end, you won't. That was your final question. We have to answer, yet we don't. What an adventure, Brioche. We'll have to discuss this further on our return to the capital. Farewell, Brioche. Oh, we almost forgot.
The host turned to the kobold.
You little creature. You didn't win, but you still managed to make us laugh. You want to come with us? No promises you'll turn into a dragon, but still.
The kobold jumps from joy, but then carefully asked, pointing at his jaboas,
Take my friends? Yes? Alright, fine.
The hooded creature laughs.
Listen all, the inconsequent debates are now closed. We spare all of you the effects of the Zossenruppeled tricks, and bid you farewell.
Well, that happened. No less born twice, twice defeated. Armag or Tartuk? That's a good point. Oh. We just get to keep their stuff?
The Fae are no match to my ingenuity.
The debates, the Fae, and their mysteries, and most importantly, we don't have to fight anyone. I like this adventure. Yeah, it's a good adventure. We off then? Anything else around here? Guess not. Oh hey, it lets you spec your party. That's nice. Okay. Let's get back to the old kingdom and do some kingdom building. Okay, we're at 2:45. Well, 2 hours 45 minutes. So I'll probably do some kingdom admin stuff and call it there. Let's ranking up. Yep. River Trickster, success. Aldore Fighting School, success. Lost Dwarven Knowledge, success. We found a secret section of the library in the abandoned keep. What secrets does it hide? People from beyond the forest. Hunters have found a small village in the woods, lived in isolation, strange language, like brothers, never heard of the Stag Lord or the Queen. You'll tell them they're not free people occupying no one's land as they thought only yesterday. Notice it's 10 to 4 where you are. Nowhere there's a 5-minute delay. I'm talking about time elapsed on the stream, not time of day. Here it's 8:52. And judging by the quickness of your reply, Nolus, that was when in the South Nile marches and Dire Nile marches have a military upgrade, dwarven keeps can be restored more efficiently. Okay. Freedom at any cost. Mineral springs. The locals speak of a healing spring whose waters cure diseases and grant use powers. This natural phenomenon should be surely investigated. Kate Justinian, on it. Okay, let's do some ranking up. Success. Your bloss seems more caustic than usual. Okay, failure. 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 Success. 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 Okay, do I need to speak to Jubilost? Okay, half-orc. He has given me the fly swatter. Oh, hey, it's you. Mim Wobblegander. Greetings. Mim's face shines with enthusiasm. The trade in your kingdom is so lively that I'm literally overflowing with commissions. It's splendid. The more interesting the challenge, the better. Finally, I've laboured long on a special present for you, Your Highness. Mim's the best, isn't she? Received source of invisibility. Oh. Okay, let's see what this is then. So, ring. This ring grants the wearer the ability to cast the poison spell 3 times per day as per 7th level cleric. If the wearer has the invisible thief ability, the ring allows them to use it for 5 additional rounds per day. Good. Fly swatter, great sword. Yeah, that's kind of useful. Yeah, looks like we need to... stuff. Yeah, let's not take this risk to my, Okay. Work out what I need to do for Jubilost. Okay, I need to speak to Jubilost. I'll just... not where he is. Oh, he's over there.
Brioche, I never properly thanked you for your help at the inconsequent debates. I'm happy to do so now. I hope you don't think me entirely ungrateful.
Have you figured out anything about the riddle? The host's answer to your question about the gnomes?
Not quite, but I'm working on it. I'll certainly inform you of my findings. I must admit, such an answer is quite in the spirit of the Fae. It must lead somewhere, and I will find the trail.
Remind me how the riddle went again? I was surprised that they didn't want to be freed of the Zoppenroppel spell. Why'd you willingly suffer it?
Jubilost locks his hands behind his back. Well, you see, I understand well what the, bleaching is, what a fatal effect it has on gnomes. Those poor fellows are acting like that for no darker motive than desperation. Their foolish jokes allow them to live just a little bit longer. Do you see? I don't mind becoming the joke myself, for a while, of course, and not if my life was being threatened. It lets someone live a couple of days longer.
Okay, that's surprisingly noble of him. So neutral good, you let them continue their prank to help them, that's a worthy act. Neutral, you shouldn't have played along, each of us chooses how to face our troubles. With dignity or humiliating ourselves and others. Or neutral evil, just being a jerk. Yeah, I think I'll go neutral good here.
Stop it or make me blush. Oh god, I complimented Jubilost.
Jubilost folds his hands over his chest with a contented look. Let's talk about something else.
As you wish, I'll continue to work on the riddle.
I want to talk to you about the inconsequent debates.
Of course, an exciting topic of conversation, isn't it?
Okay. I've read your article about the barony. Should I be flattered?
Flattery is entirely foreign to my works. Everything that I write is the absolute truth, and I never intend to satisfy egos.
Jubilost looks at you over his glasses.
But in case you're wondering, yes, I'm impressed with what you've done.
Okay, cool, bye. Okay, is that the quest done? Yes. It would have been really funny if I timed out the quest by accident because I didn't speak to him after it. We've got these quests to do. So we've got Obliteration, Bloody Craft on the edge. Yep, I think I might save those for next week, because, to be honest, my voice is starting to hurt a little. So, yep, I guess we'll call it here, and we'll find someone to raid. Oh, thank you for the 15,946 total to the Tiefling Cosplay Challenge Tal Kitty, and the 82,000 Nolus. What's that at now? Oh, we're at 92%. 460,114 raised. Switched to the break screen by accident there. Anyways, time to find someone to raid, I guess. Oh yeah, stream wise, I'll be live tomorrow at the slightly later time than usual of 7:30, with the delightful 8-bit goggles and his cursedness, and we'll be streaming more of the Death of Sonic the Hedgehog. Friday, I don't think there's any tabletop stuff going on, so it's just going to be a Leonard's Inception stream. But I might cancel it because there's some stuff going on Friday. Let's see, we've got the Red Sage doing some Dungeons & Dragons world building. Got Noah doing Tears of the Kingdom. And we've got Icky doing Breath of the Wild. Well, I've been watching a lot of Zelda streams lately, so I think we'll raid the Red Sage. So yep, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow at 7:30. For reference, it's 9 o'clock here. So like an hour and a half ago tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I'm going to reiterate that I'm super happy with how my hair is right now. And yep, that's about it, I guess. Yep. So yep, catch you all tomorrow. Keep an eye on Twitter, and I really should get an Instagram sorted out. I'll keep an eye on Twitter for news about me sorting out Instagram at last. And we're going to raid in 3, 2, 1, let's go.